Shalom and greetings, everybody. It's Brother Nicholas James Vanderlane here. Victory for the people of Israel from by the narrow path, which are the 10 commandments. Today is the 29th day of the 4th month on Elohim's Zadok priest, Dead Sea Scroll, Enoch solar calendar. It's July 18th, 2019, and this video is being broadcasted from the Famagusta region of Cyprus. This video is titled The Festival of New Wine Rapture, the Wedding Festival, and July 20th through 22nd, 2019. And we're going to get into a reason why, a 3-day period for this event. A couple of scriptures I want to start off with real quick. I have them actually on the first slide here. In Luke 22, verse 18, Yeshua said, I say to you that I shall not drink from the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of Eloah shall come. And also, in Matthew 26:29, Master Yahusha said, But I say to you that I shall not drink again from this fruit of the vine until the day in which I shall drink it with you new in the kingdom of my Father. Hallelujah. So, we did this one last year while I'm watching. I'm watching for this day, but I'm preaching righteousness to everybody out there. I'm trying to preach the 10 Commandments to turn you people who say they have faith in Yeshua to come and keep the 10 Commandments out of love. Because Yeshua taught, he said, he who is forgiven much loves much. And he said, if you love me, this is what he said, if you love him, keep my commandments. Which commandments? The 10 Commandments, plus the new commandment to love the brethren. This is righteousness. But people love lawlessness. With that being said, I've been watching this for dates ever since the September 24th sign happened, and it's always been a process of elimination. I'm not setting a date. We're watching. See the star here for the rapture? I want to disclaim something else, that this rapture event appears to be somewhat ambiguous. It could be a shield. So let's go ahead and start off with the festivals of Yahweh. This is in chronological order, starting at the beginning of the year, working our way to the end of the year. We have Passover, unleavened bread, the wave sheaf barley, which is a first fruits festival. Then we count from this day 7 weeks and then number the 50th day. And then we have the festival of weeks, or Shavuot, the festival of the wheat harvest. And that is a first fruits harvest. Then from this day, we are told in the temple scroll to count 7 Sabbaths and number the 50th day from this day. And it brings us to the festival of new wine. Here is the instructions out of the temple scroll. You shall count 7 weeks from the day when you bring the new grain offering to Yahweh, the bread of first fruits. 7 full Sabbaths shall elapse until you have counted 50 days to the morrow of the 7th Sabbath. You shall bring new wine for a drink offering, 4 bins from all the tribes of Israel. 1/3 of a hin for each tribe. And then there's a lot more instruction regarding all of the sacrifices and the festival that is going on this day. Hallelujah. And this is also a first fruits festival, and it's a festival of weeks, as you can see, because we're counting weeks. Then from the festival of new wine, we count 7 Sabbaths, and we then number the 50th day, the day which is the day after the 7th Sabbath, and that brings us to the festival of new oil. And then following the festival of new oil, there's a 6-day festival, which is an offering of wood. And then the festival of trumpets, or Yom Teruah, which is the first day of the 7th month. Atonement, which is the 10th day of the 7th month. And these are semi-connected, which is called the 10 Days of Awe. I did a video on this. The 10 Days of Awe, it's a Jewish tradition that they never give a reason why they celebrate it, but it's actually found in the book of Gad the Seer. And then we have Tabernacles, or Sukkot, which is, I believe, also an ingathering festival of the fall harvest. So it's a first fruits festival, I think. And that festival is on the 15th day of the 7th month, 7 days long. And then you have the great 8th day, which concludes all of the festivals of Yahweh for that year. And this festival of new wine is actually found in the scriptures. First, before I show you where it's found in the scriptures, let's go ahead through Acts chapter 2. And you can see this is the day that the Holy Spirit was given on Pentecost, or Shavuot, the festival of wheat harvest, the festival of weeks. And basically, when they received the Ruach, here it is. Everybody heard them in their own language. We do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of Elohim. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying to one another, What meaneth this? Others mocking said, These men are full of new wine. See, they all knew the festivals back then. They were mocking them like they were too early to the festival of new wine, but new wine isn't about being drunken. The last fulfilled festival, if you go chronologically, was this festival, Shavuot, Festival of Weeks.
And if Yahweh is fulfilling his festivals in chronological order, the next in line would make sense. It would be the Festival of New Wine.
You now see a connection between Shavuot and new wine. I will later show how these festivals are connected in the Temple Scroll. But what happens is, as soon as they're falsely or wrongly accused, Peter, who is newly filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, he just received the Ruach HaKodesh on this day, this morning, he identifies the association of this festival, new wine / Shavuot, with the prophet Joel and a great and notable day of Yahweh, that these are associated. But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, Ye men of Judea, all ye that dwell at Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words. For these are not drunken, as you suppose, seeing it is but the 3rd hour of the day. But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Elohim, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. Okay, now let me stop right there. He is not talking about all this wacky rapture dreams and visions that everybody and their mom has on YouTube that don't ever come to pass. He's not talking about that type of thing, those type of dreams, because I haven't seen one of those fulfilled yet, and YouTube is littered with rapture dreams, rapture visions. We're here watching, as our master said, by watching in his word. Not necessarily watching in the world news. We see things happening, of course, but in his word, right here. Festival of New Wine, possibly. So, I will show wonders in the heaven above and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke, and the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before that great and notable day of Yahweh cometh.
Malachi chapter 4 verse 5, Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. So Elijah comes before this period. He's here, and he's probably hidden, just as the scriptures say in Isaiah chapter 49.
So, what's interesting back about Joel is that Joel, in chapter 1, verse 5, he starts the whole book. He starts the chapter saying, the new wine is cut off. Also, Joel says in 1 verse 10, the new wine is dried up, as if a weapon dried up everything in Israel. So does this event happen on this festival, or sometime after this festival between new wine and new oil, which is the next one? I don't know. This event could possibly be which starts the beginning of sorrows Master Yeshua prophesied of. I believe this time period called the beginning of sorrows to be the time period before the 70th week begins or commences. The beginning of sorrows plus the 70th week of Daniel would equal the day of Yahweh. Yes, judgment is coming to Jerusalem. It's coming to the inhabitants of the wastelands, as per Ezekiel 33, as per Jeremiah chapter 4, 5, and 6, as per Isaiah chapter 4 or 5. So it's coming, but they're trying to not make it come by creating their own prophets to teach the word of God, try to fake it until you make it type prophecy with the hopes that this isn't going to happen, but it's going to happen. Yahweh's word spoke it, and it will happen. The festival of new wine is the wedding festival, as I said. So many people are unfamiliar with this festival because it's not listed in the Feast of Yahweh in Leviticus chapter 23. This festival of Yahweh is recorded in Judges chapter 21 all the way at the end. So Benjamin did some wickedness in Israel, and Israelites came against Benjamin, and they came close to wiping them out. And there were only 400 men of Benjamin that remained. And Israel promised among themselves of the tribes, that they not give them wives of their daughters, for the children of Israel swore, saying, Cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. Then they said, Behold, there is a feast of Yahweh in Shiloh, yearly, in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem. Now it's interesting that this word is Shiloh. Remember the prophecy I talked about? Shiloh, the rod and the staff won't depart from Judah until Shiloh comes. That's, some translations have it as Shiloh comes, or the lawgiver comes. So we have the feast of Yahweh in Shiloh. So is this going to be the feast of Elijah possibly? This Elijah type person? We don't know. We'll see. Because this event, the festival of new wine in the temple scroll, is also associated with the covenant of salt. And the covenant of salt is with King David. And this Elijah, end-time Elijah type person is going to be a King David type person as well. But he's not going to be from the line of Judah. Possibly, I believe he's going to be from the line of Ephraim and Joseph, which I've been. And so here's the wedding festival, Bethel to Shechem. Okay, yearly in the place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem. Now remember, Elijah did go to Bethel when he went up, okay? And on the south of Lebonah, therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, Go and lie and wait in the vineyards, and see, and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in the dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh. So, I know like in the Greek, everybody always talks about that word, harpat. It's like a snatching, or I don't know if this is a catching away. Every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go into the land of Benjamin, and it shall be when their fathers or their brethren come unto us to complain, that we will say unto them, Be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not to each man his wife in the war. For ye did not give them up at this time, that ye should be guilty. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to the number of them that danced, whom they caught. And they went up and returned unto their inheritance, and repaired the cities, and dwelt in them. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe, and to his family, and they went out from thence every man to his inheritance. And then in those days there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. And that's what we have now today in Christianity. Everyone wants to do what's right in their own eyes. No one wants to go back and keep the Ten Commandments. No one wants to go back and reverence the seventh-day Sabbath, that Yeshua is the master of the Sabbath. He showed us how to live the Sabbath. It's in these laws are written on the Ten Commandments in the stone with the finger of Yeshua, more than likely, placed inside the Ark of the Covenant, like the Ten Commandments are placed within our heart. We're called to do these things, but everybody rejected them. So in John chapter 2, this is the account of the wedding at Cana. It happened on the third day. I do not think that Yeshua turned into the water into the wine on the festival of new wine, because I believe that he did this miracle in the 12th month, because he then next goes to Jerusalem for the Passover. But considering that, there was a couple of things that were within that theme. One, wine, right? And then secondly, the wedding festival. So that kind of connects this type. Yeshua taught that new wine goes into new wineskins, like new bodies. And he mentioned that 3 times. The account that I want to share down here is down in Luke chapter 5, verse 36 to 39. And he spake in a parable unto them, No man putteth a piece of a new garment upon an old. If it otherwise, then both the new maketh a rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old. And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles, and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish. But new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved. No man also, having drunk old wine, straightway desireth the new, for he saith, the old is better. That's kind of interesting, that last part there. I don't really understand that yet. What old wine is Yeshua talking about? The old paths that you would find rest for your souls? Rest for your soul is the seventh-day Sabbath, and the old path is the Ten Commandments, because it's the eternal law of Elohim. Or is he talking about the old waste places, which is
specifically the land of Israel, which is currently being occupied by Canaanites, Edomites, and some Judahites? Some actual Judahites are there.
Or another thing I want to bring to our attention, or your attention, is a video that I did called Jesus' Rapture Prophecy of the Wedding Crasher. So this also has a wedding theme to it, so I thought I would mention this. Basically, this is a prophecy. Someone is not going to have on the right wedding garments, and they're going to get booted out from that festival. I suggest everybody watch it. It's a very sobering video for every single person, including myself, to consider these things. Here I have my biblical anniversaries calendar. What we have is we have a 3-day festival, basically, because we have the first day of the 5th month, and that is the day of the new month. Okay, so that day is a holiday. You're allowed to cook, but commerce is prohibited. Then we have the Sabbath on the 2nd day of the 5th month. So all of your food that you would make for the new month festival, well, you would cook double to go for the Sabbath on this day.
And on the Sabbath day,
domestic work is prohibited and servile work is prohibited. And then we have the 3rd day of the 5th month.
and it doesn't say what is permissible and what is prohibited. I would say that domestic work would be permissible, and my guess would be that servile work would still be prohibited on this day because it's a day of rejoicing.
And so what is interesting else about this day, this is a 3-day festival that Ezra
observed after he delivered the gold and silver articles of the temple back to Jerusalem.
He made it and arrived on this day, and he stayed 3 days in Jerusalem, 1, 2, and 3. So that's something to consider. So a high watch period coming up. That's why I said 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So here we have all the times that new wine is mentioned in the scriptures. And there's a lot of times that the new wine is mentioned in the scriptures. And also you can see here how it says the corn, the wine, and the oil. Here I did a search for corn, wine, and oil. And if you look at all the times, it shows up in many verses where the corn, wine, and oil, 18 different verses where they are all in it. They all go together. 50, 50, 50. And remember, 50 is a significant number. Yahweh Elohim said if there's 50 righteous found in Sodom and Gomorrah, he wouldn't destroy it. And then Abraham sought Yahweh's mercy, and Yahweh came down. If there's 10 righteous, he won't destroy it. So that's something to consider. And he doesn't destroy the righteous with the wicked. Hallelujah. In this Wikipedia article, you can read about the Festival of New Wine in the Temple Scroll right here, found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And what's interesting is the children of Israel shall rejoice before Yahweh and eternal rule for their generations wherever they dwell. So wherever they dwell throughout the entire world, they are called to rejoice on this day and to pour out an intoxicating drink offering and then to feed new wine on the altar of Yahweh year by year.
Remember, Yahweh, he mixes the cup of wine for Babylon, and he's going to make them drink the dregs of it and like pouring out his wrath. And so this is something, possibly a type of that.
They shall expiate for the triage, which means make atonement for the grapes. This is some people's interpretation. So there's an atonement factor associated with this festival, which is kind of interesting.
Also mentioned in this festival in the Temple Scroll is the covenant of salt.
You shall never allow the covenant of salt to fail. So this reminder is mentioned in the Festival of New Wine. And I believe that this is that Elisha slash overcomer slash end time messenger to Ephraim, Ezekiel 33 watchman, the end time servant of Isaiah, such and such. This will be something regarding with him. And lastly, I want to revisit these verses again to end. Luke 22:18, Master Yeshua said, I say to you that I shall not drink from the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of Eloah shall come. And then again, Matthew 26:29, but I say to you that I shall not drink again from this fruit of the vine until the day in which I shall drink it with you new in the kingdom of my Father. There's only one time when you start drinking new wine, and that's on the festival of the new wine. And remember, the new wine is cut off. The new wine is dried up. In Luke chapter 17, the coming of the kingdom. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of Elohim should come, this is Yeshua, he answered and said, the kingdom of Elohim cometh not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo, here, or lo, there. Behold, the kingdom of Elohim is within you. And he said unto his disciples, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man. And that's another title for this end-time messenger, prophet, end-time servant, this Elijah type. He's also the lowercase Son of Man. So I believe he's here somewhere. And the days will come when ye shall not desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. And they said unto you, see here or see there, go not after them, nor follow them. So there's all those YouTube prophets are going to start bubbling up. For as the lightning that lighteth out of one part under heaven shineth to the under part of the heaven, so also the Son of Man be in his day. Now, that's kind of interesting. It lights up and it goes like a flash, like a rapture flash. I don't know. Unless he's like lightning and he lights up like lightning and something. But first he must suffer many things and be rejected of this generation. So this person is rejected. And he's probably rejected by all the rapture whoremongers out there on YouTube that don't want to keep the commandments. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it also be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat and drink, they married wives and were given in marriage. Okay, so here we see it. They ate and drank, so you eat. There is a festival. This is a wedding this festival. You drink and you do this, you eat, and they married wives and they were given in marriage. So it's like a wedding festival. Until the day that Noah entered into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Thus, even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. So obviously the Son of Man is revealed after he's been rejected. And it's going to be like a light that lights up under the heaven. Interesting. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in his house, let him not come down and take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife? Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it. And whoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. One shall be taken, the other left. Two women shall be grinding together, one shall be taken, the other left. Two men shall be in the field, one shall be taken, the other left. And they answered and said unto him, where, master? And he said unto them, wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together. That is really interesting and cryptic. One's going to be taken and the other's going to be left, and they're going to be left dead, it looks like. Because that's wherever their body is, there's the eagles are going to be gathered. So it appears that there could be this rapture shield type thing event where Yahweh Elohim, who is our shield, protects, you go through, and you're called to remember Jerusalem. The other scenario would be that you're like a cocoon and a butterfly, and the new wine goes into new wineskins and the old body remains. We'll see how this event unfolds. I don't have all the answers. I'm just doing my best, sharing with you what I got. So hopefully you guys consider the Festival of New Wine. Hopefully the true calendar, the only calendar of Yahweh Elohim. Hopefully you're regarding the Sabbath day, you're taking that message to heart. the seventh-day Sabbath, and being a doer of the word of Elohim. And hopefully you would celebrate the day of Festival of New Wine. And this is not for entertainment purposes. These things are to be lived out. My channel is about living holy lives, set-apart lives, and the process of holiness unto our mighty El. Not by our righteousness, but by his. But we are called to set apart ourselves, to be holy as our Father in heaven is set apart and holy. So I'm signing off here from Cyprus, and shalom.